Hey, everybody. Welcome back again to Austin Sports Weekend with our special guest. Today we have VFL.
Erik Ainge.
VFL, though, former NFL quarterback and still the only Tennessee quarterback to throw 5 touchdowns.
Seven.
Okay, I'm sorry. Seven.
Excuse you, Tracy.
7 touchdowns, 1 game. That was against Kentucky. I was just playing around.
Don't you?
You got to poke at Kentucky.
You got to
What are
poke
we
at
doing
Kentucky.
if we're not poking at Kentucky?
Exactly. But welcome again to Erik. Glad for you to be able to sit in with us this weekend and have a little fun. We're going to cover some college
football.
Some college football. Thanks again for SevereTV.com for setting us up at the studio here, and thanks again for Autographs Plus sponsoring us here. But let's go ahead and jump into some college football. Well, we normally just cover the top 15 teams, but we got to talk about Tennessee because Tennessee is our team.
Well, that's what we do. That's what we do.
Might have a little bit of orange on, yeah. Last week, Tennessee tried to bounce back and played a little University of Texas San Antonio.
Well, Tennessee did play. Got off to an extremely fast start.
Yeah, they looked really good. I mean, the first play being an 81-yard touchdown wasn't bad.
We've been asking Joe. I said it. God gave you 2 legs. Use them both.
I mean,
run, son, run.
What did he do? Like 6'5",
250.
250. I mean, he
definitely could use him in some quarterback sneak
tackling.
situations.
No one's going to want to tackle him, but he did run the ball. Hey, I'm with you guys. They looked good in the first half. And then they came out and they didn't play very good in the third quarter.
They were a little flat in the third quarter. Yeah, they came out and scored. They were outscored 14-0 in the third quarter. That's the only thing that concerns me a little bit. Sometimes they're a little up and down. They're really, really good, and then they let down a little bit, and they're really.
Sometimes
really good.
I feel like they should. The one thing that Joe Milton has that some people really praise about him is that cannon of an arm he has. I always wonder.
We have it through a lot of downfield passes.
We throw a lot of the sideways passes. So here's Joe Milton in a nutshell so far. We call the run play that's called RPO, right? Run pass option.
Yeah.
So it's a called run play, and if they stack the box, then we throw it out there. He reads it right whether he should throw it or do the run play every single time. The thing he hasn't been doing though is once he's not going to throw it and he's going to do the run play, he's not reading the run play. He's just handing it off. So on that first play of the game against UTSA, he actually read it. The end crashed down, and he kept it.
It was wide open.
And he's wide open. That's been there all year long. He's got to use his legs to stress the defense, extend the defense, and put that pressure on.
Do you think we maybe been playing a little conservative, trying not to get him hurt after Hooker got hurt last year, maybe?
Maybe, but I also think part of the problem is Heupel's an old quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. And you hear the phrase "take what the defense gives you."
Yeah, I've heard that over and over like clockwork.
But that's been the deal since football started.
Yeah.
You take what the defense gives you.
If you got 8 in the box, you're not going to run the ball.
You're not running the ball. Throw it. So what's been happening, and I don't know why Virginia or UTSA did it, but they played cover 2. They're playing 2 deep safeties, which as a quarterback. Or a play caller, you're running the football. You go back
that's
there,
what you
do.
do.
There's not many people in the box anyway.
You got a 5-man. You got a 5-man, 6-man front.
But
hat to hat, you should run the ball.
But Virginia and UTSA let us run for over 300 yards. They should not have done that.
Because we're a what team first?
We're a run team first.
That's what we're supposed to be.
Florida did it to us though, and they had 5 guys in the box, and their 5 whipped our 6.
Yeah,
so If you can if you can do that against Tennessee, then you want to do that because that's going to make us look conservative. I don't know.
Yeah.
That it's as much about being conservative as much as it's going. They're still back there in 2 deep, hand the ball off,
and we can't.
But against Florida, we couldn't get it done.
We couldn't get it done.
UTSA, we did. We'll find out this.
Do you think Cooper?
Plus, I also think Virginia is not a very good football team.
Austin, I think you are 1,000% right on that.
Do you think Cooper coming back makes a big difference?
I think it gives them a little hoorah, like a little, pep in their step, a little confidence. Ollie's done the best he can. Anybody they put out, the best they can, but. It's not a slight to them to say that Cooper is a better player.
No. I mean, you're a starter for a reason.
He was a preseason all-conference football player. He's a potential NFL football player.
Uh-huh.
And toughness isn't his issue. So when he's back, you assume he'll be.
And he is sort of the quarterback of the offensive line. Call some protections.
Get him
going. Keep rolling.
It all goes through Coop.
Anyways, overall Tennessee pulled 3 out of 4 quarters and looked really, really good. They scored over 45. I think when Tennessee scores over 40, they're hard to beat.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into the rest of the games we had. We had, again, the most ranked matchups since 2015.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was the most ranked matchups.
We try to cram as much research as possible into these things.
Well, as much as I can in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, we had Rutgers at Michigan. Michigan continuing that grueling schedule they have. About as good as Georgia's.
It's almost as meme-worthy as Georgia's
Yeah,
schedule.
but
Or
they
Kentucky. Kentucky's leading the MAC right now in football.
Yeah.
4-0 against the MAC.
MAC 4-0 against the MAC teams, yeah. They got to jump into some SEC play this week.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
That'll be interesting.
Ranked Florida.
Ranked, Nate.
Ranked. They are, though. They are.
I'll get in a minute.
The number says what the number says.
Georgia beat Rutgers pretty easy, 31-7.
Georgia didn't play Rutgers. Michigan.
I mean
didn't.
Michigan. I'm thinking got Georgia on my brain here.
But they might as well have played Rutgers.
They might as well play Rutgers. We had one of the games of the week. Florida State at Clemson. Clemson played better than I thought they would.
But there's always one thing holding them back. And Dabo Swinney, for some unknown reason,
Doesn't like the transfer portal.
he doesn't like the transfer portal, and I have no idea
He
why.
won't. Yeah.
At this point, I feel like he's a stubborn enough guy that he said it 3 years ago. So he's just, I said it, so I'm going to stick to it. I guess I won't use the portal. Why on earth would you not want, when some of your players are leaving, why would you not want to go find good football players out there that are ready for a second, different opportunity? I'll say this about Clemson, though. Clemson's got a great running back. They got a lot of good football players all over that team. But Cade Klubnik still looks like a guy that's only started 5 games in his career.
He does.
He
He
holds
looks
the
like-
ball. He doesn't know where to go with
He
it.
looks like he played in the Orange Bowl all over again.
Yeah, like kind of scatterbrained, like his head's doing this. If you watch a quarterback in the pocket and their head's going like this, there's no way anything good's about to happen.
You got progressions. 1, 2, 3. The ball should be gone.
Boom, boom. Yeah,
Throw it to
camera,
somebody.
camera.
Throw
Right?
it- throw it away. That's it
He's
right
over there doing
yeah.
this move right here.
I'll tell you what. Clemson's 2-2 right now. If they go to 2-4, he might think about the portal a little bit more.
Yeah. Hey, the good news for Clemson is, though, they've played the by far 2 hardest games on their schedule.
They have, yeah. They have.
But
So-
the kicker's got to make some kicks. I mean, that last kick they missed
still-
with 29
That's still
yards
one
out,
of-
that was brutal.
That's still one of the maximums of Tennessee, the kicking game. And I think the kicking game
Here's where the breaks are made.
It's it. You can win a game making a 60-yard field goal. You can win a game making a 60-yard punt. And if you don't have that good of a kicker, then you're going to lose those games that you could have won with that. I like kickers. Maybe sometimes.
When they make them.
Yeah. The game of the week, maybe, or was supposed to be the game of the week, Colorado at Oregon, turned out to be a spanking.
Speaking of hyped up teams,
We were talking about this. Was Colorado overhyped, or was was Oregon underhyped?
I think it's a combination of both.
I think it's probably a combination of both. Colorado beat some teams that really aren't that good but have big brands.
Yeah.
So they got a lot of credit for it, and they were terrible last year, but they're not terrible. And you know, say what you want about Dion, but Dion's the same all the time. He's been himself forever.
I've always liked Dion. He's always been one of my favorites because what you see is what you get.
Yeah, well, like
He
him,
doesn't
hate
hide
him,
anything. No.
whatever. I mean, he is what he is. His players love him, and they play hard for him. I do think it's more of Oregon being underhyped, and I'll give Dan Lanning this. He talked trash about Colorado in the offseason. He was tired of hearing about him at Pac-12 Media Days.
Yeah, and then pregame speech.
And the pregame
He was
speech,
over it.
He was over Colorado, and he had the Ducks ready to play.
Yeah.
Well, they're quacking their way.
We actually called Oregon at the first of the season. They should have started out a top 10 team.
I agree. Bo Nix, really good player. They've got NFL players
The
all over that
only
team.
college player in the history of college to have 55 touchdowns or more for 2 different teams.
Is that true?
Yes, that is.
Bo Nix.
Wow.
He's got 55 touchdowns
It's
now
kind
for
of brutal
Oregon.
how Auburn misused him with all that turmoil going on over there.
Yeah. I'll give him this though. He's playing like a different player. He was just an athlete that played quarterback at Auburn. Now he's a quarterback playing quarterback.
I've got a little softy for Oregon and Oregon fans too. Whenever they stood
They
up
did
for
that
us
little
with Florida.
duck pull the truck
Yeah.
thing all
Pull the
those
truck
years
down.
ago.
Yeah, but honestly, I think Oregon's a top 10 team, and they are a top 10 team. We had UCLA at Utah. Man, I fell
Utah-
asleep about halfway through it. But
Utah is injured to crap, but they got the job done
They
yet
still
again.
Still found a way to win.
If they get those 4 starters back, they may be good. But no, including they're starting
But
quarterbacks
they only
back.
gave up 7 points to a ranked football team. I mean
That's
That's
gotta
good.
that regardless. I know they only scored 14,
But they only gave up
Utah
7.
they only gave up what?
The first
Was it
play of the
7
game
to Florida? How many did Florida score against them? 11.
11, yeah.
11. Florida only scored 11. They held UCLA to 7. I mean, the Utah on defense is good enough to
compete in that conference.
give anybody problems.
Yeah. They only gave up 7 to Weber State and only 13 to Baylor, so they haven't given up more than 13 points.
That's got to be
this
about
entire year.
the best scoring defense in the country then.
That is. After that, we had our Ole Miss at Alabama. Boy, I whiffed on this one. I thought Ole Miss.
Well,
Call a
why
spade
did
a
I-
spade.
why
You
did
can't get them all right, Tracy. You can't get them all right.
Why did I put any trust in Kiffin, and why did I doubt Saban?
You know when I knew this game was over?
Whenever Kiffin bragged about
when
it.
Kiffin started talking trash about Kevin Steele and joking about, I saw the TV copy and I don't know who's calling defensive plays anymore. It looks like Kevin Steele got his play calling duties taken from him. Nick Saban then takes podium and says, Kevin Steele calls all the plays on defense. We communicate like it's
And
as
his
soon as
defense-
you did that, I was like, why poke the bear?
Why?
Alabama's got enough problems right now anyway. Why give them added motivation?
and that defense shut your offense down for a big chunk of the game.
they had one real big play right, the quarterback draw.
And that was it.
I mean,
That was
other than
it.
that,
Other than that, Bama shut them down.
Listen, Bama doesn't have the best defense they've ever had under Nick
No.
Saban, but they still have a great defense. They are still very, very.
I mean,
compare
every player still a 5-star on there. I
You
mean,
compare
maybe
Georgia-
a sprinkle 4-star in there somewhere.
Okay, Georgia doesn't have the same defense they had 2 years ago
No.
with 5 first. They don't.
No.
Okay, that's one of the best defenses that college football's ever seen.
Yeah.
it's not a slight to them. They still have an A+ defense.
Yeah.
Bama's the same way.
Bama's the same way, and Bama's always Bama. They did bring back in the starting quarterback. What's his name?
Milroe.
And
They look-
he's definitely the best of the three
By far.
by far.
And Lane Kiffin's got a bit of a reputation in
Choke
these
factor.
big games.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit of one. Jumping on down, we had Arkansas. This was probably the most entertaining game of the week. We got Arkansas at LSU, 31-34. That was a fun.
I got that one wrong. I thought LSU was going to stomp
I
a
thought
mud.
LSU was
Arkansas
gonna do
lost to BYU the week before.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm sorry, that's
game's
just
in Death Valley.
comical.
Did you see the catch that BYU guy made though?
Yeah, that was crazy.
One-handed with tapping a foot in the end zone. That was ridiculous.
Yeah.
They
But
deserve to win that
This
game.
is a rivalry game. You always have to go back to it's a rivalry game, and they're going to work.
They hate each other.
They hate each other, yeah, and it came down. But LSU did what they needed to do, pull it out really close there at the end. I thought Arkansas was going to sneak out a win there at one point in time. Number 14, Oregon State won't be number 14 anymore because they went to Washington State and lost. Again, that was another close.
Surprise teams. One of our surprise teams of the season so far.
Washington State, they're what, the only two the Pac-2 conference.
They're making memes about the Pac-2 right now. There's no 12
Hey,
anymore.
both of them are
Hey,
ranked.
but good for them though. It's their last year in a legit conference.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants them, and they've found a way to kind of take that and turn it
Yeah.
into something
Use
positive.
that as motivation throughout the season.
Why not?
Is that the champion now? Since that one between them two.
Well, they're better than Cal. No, Cal, yeah, right. I mean,
We had UAB at Georgia. Georgia was playing down to their competition a little bit through this.
Why do they have a habit of doing that?
UAB struggling a little bit this year. I do like their new coach.
Their new coach,
Trent
Trent
Dilfer.
Dilfer, former Super Bowl winning quarterback for the Ravens.
Yes. He managed the
Nice.
offense. He managed the offense good enough not to lose, while that defense won the Super Bowl.
that's right. They still scored 21 points. on
Yeah,
Georgia.
the
I'll say
21
this
point.
about Georgia.
That surprised me.
Man, okay, like my beautiful girlfriend Susan brought this up to me. She said
Oh.
if Tennessee could have beat Florida by 20 and then had lulls against UTSA, then you'd be like, all right, but we're ballers, right? We're great.
Yeah.
So, like, you get it. Like, Georgia won 15 straight games last year. They've won 4 straight this year. They haven't lost a conference game in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Like, I get it a little bit. It's UAB.
Yeah.
They're so good, it's hard to make that the same.
It's
you know?
hard to make that the
But if
same
you-
as playing Alabama or Tennessee or yeah.
So, like, I get that. But if you're a team that hasn't arrived yet, like Tennessee has not,
Yeah.
you don't have the luxury of saying, oh, well, it's just Austin Peay. Then you look up at the score, and it's 6-6 with
Yeah,
a minute
halfway
left. You
through,
got to
yeah.
score a quarterback
That game
run
was
to get a lead.
frustrating.
So,
Kirby, who has the highest win percentage in the first 100 games with a team.
Kirby Smart.
Kirby Smart passed
that
up Nick Saban.
that does not surprise me.
Passed up
Ryan
everybody.
Day won't be far behind either one of them.
No, but yeah, he's one game better than Nick Saban through his first 100 games with,
Barf.
which is puke.
Barf.
Puke. We had Texas at Baylor. Baylor is
One team
horrible.
that- one team
Baylor's
that's-
bad.
one team that's trying to ride off of that Alabama win, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
Trying to.
Texas is good, man. Quinn
They're-
Ewers is good.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be a tough team to beat.
I'm curious to see how it I got with the Red
River rivalries coming up.
I have so much. I could
Red
chew
River
on
Rivalry.
that.
Red River. Yeah, no, right.
No, I
You
can't.
can't do
I
that three
can't.
times fast.
I'm really looking forward to that game, but Baylor's bad. Our next big game was Ohio State at Notre Dame.
Austin, Tracy. Mm-hmm. Football is played with how many guys on the field?
11.
You
not
have
11.
11 players on the field.
And
Not
what-
10
it's hard to
for
make a
3
goal
straight
line.
plays.
It's hard to make a goal line stand
With 10
with
guys.
10 guys on the field. How do you? And the spot they got the touchdown was the one I was missing.
That's an embarrassing way to lose.
I mean,
That is.
I mean, they had them right there.
I think the beef between Holtz and Day was better than the game.
I'll say this. Notre Dame had the game won. That linebacker had that pick, and that ball went right through his hands. Like through the fat part of his pointer finger.
If
it
he
went
would,
right through.
if he would have made that pick, Notre Dame would have won.
I mean, that kind of shows you how Notre Dame usually performs in these kind of games, especially late. Especially late, they have opportunities, but
You know, Holtz said that Notre Dame loses a lot of the big games close. I mean that Ohio State. Notre Dame's really the one who loses a lot of the big games close.
And the whole Holtz Day thing. I mean, Lou Holtz said that it's fun. He's called Ohio State soft up front. No, they're not. They're not as good as
so
Michigan or Georgia
But
up
that's so
front.
fun.
They're not soft.
But that's so fun.
Lou Holtz just spitting all over the microphone while he's talking.
But I love it. I love those. So
But, Ohio State's defense has kind of kept them-
The games inside the game, like Holson Day and Kiffin and Saban.
You're a sucker for it.
I love it, man. It's like a soap opera
it's kind
to
of
me.
odd
I love
because
it.
the past years, Ohio State's offense has carried them through their games. But
Yeah, now it's their defense.
now
Their
it's the
offense is struggling a
defense.
little bit. That's one thing. We were talking about the Texans. Maybe Stroud was better than what we thought.
Yeah.
Because he's playing really good for the Texans right now, and Ohio State's offense is struggling a little bit.
Now, McCord is not him.
No,
He is
he's not.
him.
No, he's not. Jumping on down, but staying in the Big 10, 12, 14, 16. How many ever they got? We had Iowa at Penn State. Penn State looked good. Iowa looked like last year.
Iowa's offense.
Goose egg. How do you put 0? How do you not actually score point? I mean, that's
How do you get not close enough to hit a 50-yard field goal?
something.
I think Kirk Ferentz his brain, his
Now, their
mindset is stuck
defense-
in the Stone Age.
It's good.
I mean,
defense is good, but
the
their
defense
offense
is really solid, but the offense is stuck in the Stone Age.
And Penn State is looking really good until
Penn
they get
State's-
to Ohio State, Michigan.
Penn
They'll
State
they'll
is
lose
the
both those
best.
games.
Penn State is the best team that will be close but never make a 14 playoff. They
Yeah,
are a
exactly.
legitimate top 10 program. James Franklin is a legitimate top 10 coach,
Game
Yeah.
James.
but they're just not good enough. It's kind of like last year looking at Tennessee. It's like Tennessee's good enough to beat Alabama, and not quite good enough to beat Georgia. You're a top 6 team in the country. You're still ranked 3rd in your conference.
Yeah, because
State-
everybody else is so good.
It's not their fault that Michigan and Ohio State are both legit top 5 teams.
Next year will be interesting when we get the first 12 team.
I bet James Franklin will have Penn State in there all the
Big
time.
game James.
I
That's
would
a
love it.
meme that we
Yeah.
always have around
Every time
here.
he gets against Ohio State, Michigan, he loses.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah.
been very unfortunate.
we
but
had the Cal Bears at Washington. Washington's still rolling, won by 27.
Washington is
Washington
a team
is
I
the
would
prob-
not want to play.
They're probably the most untalked about top 10 team of any
They've
of them
got
that we
Penix Jr., who is as good a quarterback as just about maybe anybody in the
his
country.
QBR leads the nation.
He's
He's thrown
They have
16
players-
touchdowns to 2 interceptions.
that's
Through
ridiculous.
3 games.
That's ridiculous. The thing about Washington gets no love because other than him, how many guys' names can we name on Washington's team?
It's just
I'm going to tell you right now.
It takes
I
me a
know
little
Michael
bit to
Penix
remember his.
Jr. I know Michael Penix Jr. and I don't know the other guys. And guess what? There's 10 guys on their team that are going to play in the NFL right now.
Yeah, easily.
And no one talks about them, and I'm guilty of it too.
Yeah.
it's kind of called like spread the butter,
We
spread the peanut butter on the bread.
We actually started out at the first year. We don't even know how to really talk about Washington because they haven't been inside the top.
I know
10.
this. I know this, so I wouldn't want to play them.
No, I wouldn't want to play them right now. Somebody else I probably wouldn't want to play either is USC. They went to Arizona State, didn't win by as much. Again, they've still got a Big 12 defense. Sometimes
It might keep them out of the playoff.
I think
that
it might.
defense
I don't think
always
Utah
seems
can
to.
score enough to beat them. Oregon could definitely beat them. Washington could definitely beat them.
That would be that's going to be some fantastic
Those
games.
those will be good games.
Those will
Some
be good
late night
games.
television, get some pizza, get some drinks.
Yeah,
There you go.
turn on that 10 o'clock at night
That's
game
right.
and fall asleep halfway through the first
Put on
quarter.
your comfy pants and watch some Pac-12 after
Watch some
dark.
Pac-12 after dark. Which, I mean, we've actually got some Pac-12 games that are worth
Watching. The Pac-12 is good this year. Oregon State, Washington State,
They
Washington,
haven't been good in 10
Oregon.
years.
There's 6 teams in the Pac-12 that are really good.
Yeah.
They're good now. I actually love that the conference is going out with a bang instead
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, but it's great. It'd be funny if they got, like 5 of the top 10 teams are in the Pac, and then the conference is not even going to exist next year.
it's burnt.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our Week 5 predictions. We do have a top 15 ranked Friday game. How about that? We got some Friday night football,
Okay.
Friday night under the lights, and it's not high school football. We got Oregon State taking on Utah.
Utah's defense is solid and proved itself to be a solid unit.
DJ, I'm going to butcher it. Ugalele.
Uyagalele. Uyagalele.
Listen to him,
Uyagalele.
What Austin said.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Oregon State pulls an upset.
I would probably
Unless
take,
Cam Rising plays, but I don't think that's happening. So I'm going to say Oregon State.
There's
gets
only
it.
It
so
still might
much
be-
that you can do
it still might be
with.
tough even if Cam Rising comes in because he's not up to speed. He's not, the timing's not there.
Well, and his
yet.
whole, it's like the thing with Milton this weekend. How healthy is he really? Cam Rising's game is he's a little scrapper, scrambler, runs around. You can't tackle him.
Yeah.
That's if he's kind of more stationary, he won't be quite as good.
No, But I'm with you. I'm probably Oregon State. They're favored by 3. And again, I don't think this is going to be a barn burner because Utah's defense is really, really good. So I think the score stays a little low, but I do think Oregon State wins it. Let's go ahead and talk about some Tennessee football.
All right, come on.
This is this is the game of the year so far. Tennessee needs this really, really badly. South Carolina's, I thought they got 4 injured offensive linemen.
If there's a week that you eat fried chicken for dinner, this is the one you try.
This is the one you try. They have moved it to 7:30 at night. Tennessee's wearing the dark unis.
They embarrassed us last year.
They embarrassed us like they laughed at our hurt quarterback. Tennessee's
Crow with
favored by
chickens.
12. The line opened up at, I think it was 11. It's went up to as high as 13. I've seen it as high as 13, and now it's back down to 12.
Is it me or I might be a Tennessee? I'm a Tennessee fan, but I get so annoyed when I hear that.
They
the
wave
crow
their
and
hand
chicken.
around their head or something. Like it's stupid.
no,
I don't.
yeah.
I can't get on board with any of
Yeah, I've got a friend who's a South Carolina friend. That's a South Carolina fan, but he's not a really good friend. You know?
that.
He ain't that good of a friend.
Yeah, he's a good friend.
He's a good friend, but he ain't
I
that
answer
good.
every 12th time he calls, but he's a good buddy.
Yeah, he's a good buddy. Yeah. But Tennessee minus 12, you got to think. I mean, me and you were talking earlier. If there's a game you can get up for at this point in the year, this should be a game that you get up for.
If
I
you
know
need anything,
I know players say that it's week 4. It's not South Carolina. It's just week 4.
yeah. It's the next
Oh,
game.
Come on, it ain't the next game.
Okay,
It's South Carolina.
Here's how in my experience. Here's how this works. When you have like a revenge game or it's a team you hate rivalry game, they got you last year, something like that, where there's like extra, more meat and potatoes,
Or fried chicken. In
or
this case.
fried chicken. It matters on Sunday and Monday when you're going to practice. Tuesday a little bit. It's those tossed out reminders by the head coach about how you felt last year and are we going to let that happen again and all that same stuff. But by the time you get to Wednesday and you're doing third down, red zone, and you're doing all that, if you're still worried about that, your
No.
mind's not where it needs to be.
No.
Now listen, fans, our mind won't ever be off that.
No,
I threw
no,
some
no.
interceptions in an SEC championship game, and my good buddies still make fun of me for it. So
Just everything,
you don't
man.
forget stuff like no one's ever going to forget what happened in Columbia. But Wednesday, Thursday, by the time you get midweek and on,
You should be focused on your plays.
That's execution. And guys, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 quarters of good football,
Yeah.
complimentary football. Florida, second quarter, defense disappears, offense disappears at the same time. You look at the scoreboard, and they put 20 points on the board. You can't win.
No.
Third quarter against UTSA. It's only, we say the whole third quarter. It was 2 drives. They went touchdown drive, and we went 3 and out, 6 and out. And in a matter of the whole quarter gets eaten up, and you look up and you go, they just beat us by 14. We have not played 4 quarters of football. And if the offense struggles against South Carolina,
I
the
love
defense needs to pick them up.
I love the emphasis that you're putting up
Yeah.
about consistency.
Consistency.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Consistency. Play 60-minute football.
Honestly, think Tennessee. I was wondering at the first week, why is the line 11?
It's a
I mean,
rivalry
I still
game.
think that's too many points.
But if you look at the matchup, we match up pretty good against what they do and what we're good at stopping. They are not a running team. They're averaging 75 yards a game rushing. 75, not a quarter. For the whole 4 quarters, they're averaging 75 yards a game.
They've played North Carolina and Georgia and Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm.
We've only played Florida. So I think the stats can get skewed a little bit to make them look worse at some stuff. But you're right. They don't run the ball well, and they don't stop the run well. Their DBs aren't playing real well. You mentioned their offensive line's all banged up.
Banged up big time,
The one thing they do have, though, is a quarterback who's playing as good as anybody in the country right now.
Make something happen out
He's
of
averaging
nothing.
310 yards a game passing, and he's
Yeah.
played against 3 Power 5 football teams already.
Yeah.
He's playing. He's
all Spencer.
Hey, you don't have to like him. I don't.
No, I'm not.
But he's playing really good.
I was a Spencer Rattler fan when he was with Oklahoma, much less now that he's in the SEC. But yeah, 12 points.
Just play complimentary football, 60 minutes of football. Tennessee's the better team. I think they can come out on top. Spencer Rattler's
think
like
they
a
do
good point guard. He's going to get his. He's going to throw for 250, 300. He's going to throw a couple touchdowns. You can't let him throw for 4 though.
No.
If he throws 2 touchdowns and they can't run the ball, you can win that football game, but you can't let him have a career day.
Saturday night, 7:30, blackout, black uniforms. If South Carolina can hear to call a play, the fans aren't doing their job.
Yeah.
That's the fans.
And
fault.
and I know.
There should be 4 or
I have-
5 false starts in that game because they can't hear.
Well, in South
the
Carolina, Spencer Rattler's great throwing the ball on 3rd and 1 to 2,
Mm-hmm.
4 to 6, 7 to 9. He's throwing for like 90% completion percentage
Yeah.
on 3rd down. When you get to 3rd and 10 plus, though, throwing the ball, they've only converted 3 of those 13 3rd and longs. So if it's 3rd and 6. And Jarnigan says, it's 3rd down, and there's music playing, and we're all losing our voice, and they get a false start, and it goes to 3rd and 11. I'm going to be sitting there going, we're about to get the ball back.
At least
Yeah,
we're not
because
crowing
they're
every
3
other
13,
second.
yeah.
At least
Yeah.
we're not crowing every other second on 3rd down.
Just
I
because
agree,
I'm a
Austin.
Tennessee nut, I'm going to take Tennessee minus 12 because I'm hoping and praying that they should do it.
we
it?
will eat fried chicken in peace.
I'm not going to pick them to cover. I'm going to pick them to win.
Yeah, I'm going to pick on win.
I need to see him play complimentary football for 4 quarters. Once
4
they
quarters.
do that, then I think if they do, they will cover.
Yeah,
I need to see him do it, though.
they're probably not going to cover, but man, no, I just want to. I want to. So
My
bad.
Tracy always picks the Vols to cover.
I
I
gotta
just
pick the
throw
Vols
it out
to
there.
cover, yeah. All right, let's get out of Tennessee before we talk about that for 30 minutes. Jump on into the other top 15 teams. We got another barn burner, Penn State, Northwestern.
Big game, James.
The line is 27. Penn State, I don't know. Honestly, that line's probably just
That
about.
seems high.
That's about.
That seems a little
Yeah.
high for me, but Penn State will definitely win that game by
Yeah.
multiple scores.
Northwestern scored 37. They're not a bad team to score 38. Northwestern scored over 30 twice this year.
If there was a bad performance last week that we haven't covered, Minnesota blowing a 21-point lead in the 4th quarter against Northwestern of all teams.
that's not
No,
great.
that's not very good. Penn State minus 20. That's probably a little bit much. Penn State's sort of like Michigan. I'm going to pick them to win by 20, but I don't know if it's going to be 30.
Yeah,
Because their offense
I'd
is
say
just not
win.
doing
I'd
that
say
much.
win
Yeah.
multiple scores, don't cover.
Yeah. We got USC, Colorado. This is going to be another must-see game. Colorado licking their wounds, come off. I think Hunter's still out, isn't he? He had the lacerated liver, so I don't
Yeah,
think he's gonna be coming back.
that's horrible to hear.
Coming
Yeah.
back too quickly. The line's 21.5. Honestly, I might pick USC. USC's
I
good.
think USC will cover that.
They've been scoring 50, 60 games.
I think USC will be just as tired of hearing about Colorado as Oregon was last week, and they'll want to do the same
And they're
thing.
going to say anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah,
They're
that's
gonna
right.
try to put more on them than Oregon does.
That's
So.
right.
We got our number 1 Georgia Bulldogs at Auburn. Should be a fun game. Auburn was so bad last week, though.
Passing
they
the
were
ball,
bad.
I mean,
This is a game that's on the road, so that'll have Georgia focused.
Yeah.
It's a rivalry game that will have them focused.
Last week they weren't focused.
So Kirby will have them. I think Georgia, and this is also now their 5th game. They're going to
It
start
is.
to figure it out. By the time we get them, they're going to look like they always do.
Yeah.
They're gonna be great by the time we get
They're
them.
going to be beating people 47-3. Yeah.
but right now I still think Georgia looks more like the Georgia we expected them to look like, and
Yeah.
I think they absolutely kill Auburn.
Yeah, I'll say, Auburn last week, they were.
their passing offense, it felt like
They don't have one.
It was missing. Ainge, can you help me find it?
No,
I think it's missing.
It's gone. It's gone.
I don't think
they
it
had
exists.
somebody's borrowed the first couple games, and they
They can run the ball okay,
had to give it
but
back.
Georgia, they ain't going to let them do that.
Georgia's favorite 14.5.
Thorne and
I
Ashford
think
are going to
that's
have the game of their life just to cover that spread. They won't win. To cover the spread, they'll have to play like
They'll
that.
have to play like it, yeah. Michigan at Nebraska.
Speaking of a team that has
Man. Nebraska's snake bit, man.
every single time in a one-score game, this is going back to Scott Frost and that debacle over there, and now with Matt Rule, it's the same thing.
Matt Rule's won 2 in a row, though. I mean, he took his licks against
I
Colorado.
think he's a good coach. I think he'll be fine at Nebraska overall. Whatever fine at Nebraska is, I think he'll be that. I think he'll be successful.
Yeah, we're never going to get the 90s in
But
Nebraska back.
no, that's not going to exist.
No.
But you're not.
Maybe their
You're not
fan base
beating
just has
Michigan.
unrealistic
No.
expectations.
You're not beating Michigan. Michigan is really good. They're really good.
Again, I think they've come back to earth now. Their lines the past few weeks have been 27 to 31. They've dropped it to 17 this week.
A measly 17.
A measly 17. I think Michigan probably.
I think they can cover that.
Yeah.
McCarthy can cover that.
Yeah, and we got a basketball here. Kansas at Texas.
Both are ranked.
Kansas is ranked in football.
They're undefeated. I haven't really played many. I mean, that's a gifted 4-0 there. I think Texas is really good, and I don't know that Texas will lose a game on their schedule. The Texas-Oklahoma, when that happens,
That's
could be
gonna
good.
be so good.
Oklahoma's a lot better than everybody thought they would be too.
Yeah.
But I think Texas, if Quinn Ewers stays healthy, I
They
think
will be a
Texas
contender.
is a
Yeah.
legit college football playoff contender.
I think Texas tries to make a little statement too, especially inside their own division. They're not going to
Yeah.
win this one by 3. It's going to be.
Even though Kansas
pretty
is a
good
feel-good story, I mean, usually their football team, when we talk about Kansas,
They win enough basketball games. They don't. I'm not going to feel sorry for them in football. They can take the L like everybody else does. Oh, we got number 13 LSU against
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
This is a must-win for both coaches.
This is both of these coaches need this for their fans.
LSU's
Sanity.
only loss is non-conference. LSU still got the West in the last year of division play right in front of them.
The LSU can still win.
They
the
can
West just
they
like
can
did
they can
last
go
year.
11-1 and play in the SEC championship and be in the college football playoff. I know they're ranked 13th right now.
Yeah.
They got everything. They control their own destiny.
Ole Miss dropped to 20.
I think LSU gets that.
Me too. I think Ole Miss got exposed a little bit last week. Nick Saban, like he does, he figured out a way to do what he needs to do against the team, and now there's a game plan for everybody else to do it.
And they're going to
I think
copy that.
LSU. Yeah, I think LSU.
I think
gets
LSU wins it pretty easy. It's 2.5 points. That one's pretty easy. We got Oregon at Stanford. Stanford is terrible.
They will beat Stanford by as many as they want to.
I mean, that's
they will
as
pull
easy,
up,
as easy a pick as anyone can make. I mean,
Oregon,
Stanford.
Oregon has scored 81 points in a game this year. This may be close to that.
Rick Barnes is like, they scored 81.
81.
I want to score 81.
In football. Yeah.
And
The last 27.
Stanford
I would
lost to
take that.
Sacramento State.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
This has the
I didn't even know
potential.
it was a Sacramento
next
State.
game, Ducks by a million.
Ducks by a million. We got Iowa State at Oklahoma. Iowa State's not very good this year either. So
No, Oklahoma's also playing really, really good.
yeah, Oklahoma's favored by 20.
I'll pick the Sooners.
They'll cover that.
They'll cover that. Yeah. And then Austin's game of the week: Notre Dame at Duke. Duke is 17 in the country.
Duke's good. They got a great
Cracking that top
quarterback. They're
15.
good on defense.
You know what?
Duke's one of those teams that I'm sorry, but I wouldn't want to play Duke.
No,
You get nothing for beating them because
Nope.
it's Duke.
Because
But when you
Duke-
watch them on film, you go, "That's a good football team."
If Duke loses to Notre Dame, it's going to go. And people go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, Notre Dame's
If
supposed to be
Notre
good.
Dame loses their second game in a row to Duke,
That was going to fire Freeman.
they'll burn down.
You know what? I'm going to make a pick. I'm going to pick the Blue Devils.
Oh, you really?
I got
Notre
a feeling
Dame-
about the Blue Devils.
Notre Dame -6. So you're going to take Duke.
I'm
plus
going to
6.
take.
You got-
They're at home.
You got 6 points to play.
I
with.
think Hartman is really, really good. I think Ohio State's good, and they struggled a little bit because of that. But I think Hartman has played great this
Yeah.
year. All-time
No.
ACC, all-time leading passer. Now he's at Notre Dame. I think they get back on track and Notre Dame wins.
Yeah, the only thing I worry about is Notre Dame licking their wounds from that last game, and they might be.
They don't have time to. They got
I don't
another
know.
top
It's
20
probably
game to
just
play.
me
Yeah.
picking upset picks like half of the time
Oh,
because
no,
I'm
it's
just
good.
one of those. I'm a March Madness mindset whenever I go to football games.
more
Sometimes
fun.
Ain't
to
nothing,
pick the
ain't
upset,
nothing like a
right?
little 16-1 upset, is it? Yeah. Hey, we got Alabama, who that's still outside the top 10.
That's all. It's
still
nice.
love-
It
that's
won't
so
be
nice.
long, but it's nice.
Against Mississippi State. Mississippi State's struggling a little bit right now. They were a feel-good team for the first couple games, but they're not feeling very good right now.
They're not going to feel good after this game.
No, the line's only 14.5. Alabama's
Speaking
not gonna
of
score
loud
lately. Alabama
environments
will
like that.
score.
Cowbell, we played there my senior year. Those cowbells are the most annoying thing in college athletics.
Worse than the chickens at South Carolina?
Yes.
Okay, the Cowboys.
Yeah, because the
How
chicken,
can you legally do that?
the South Carolina, it happens like from time to time.
All you hear is
It does.
Yeah.
But the cowbells are constant. It's awful.
They do. They shake it
They
constantly,
just. They don't, I swear, Mississippi State fans don't even know when to shake them. Like we score a touchdown, they're shaking. We're like, why are you shaking the cowbell? We just scored.
Yeah, they don't cause
That doesn't make sense.
Because we're supposed to. Yeah, but Alabama's 14 on that.
Better
I
get
think,
some earplugs.
I think this may be a 20-point game, to be honest.
Yeah.
Alabama seems to be finding themselves into their third. and
Milroe
fourth
will only keep getting better. Like I
Yeah.
think he'll.
He's not going to take a step back.
No,
in that
he's just
system.
gonna. He's going to keep getting more comfortable. They're going to keep telling him to run. They'll be fine.
We got number 7 up to number 7, Washington.
They deserve to be there.
Man,
Arizona's got that quarterback that
At
was supposed to go
Arizona.
to Florida.
yeah.
They got the NIL deal all messed up. Jaden
yeah.
Rashada.
Oh, yeah, they-
He's a true freshman. He's playing really good, but Washington will. What's the
Washington
The
line?
line's
is a-
18 and a half.
Washington will cover that.
Washington will be
Washington-
25.
They're going to score 50. I mean, can
Can Arizona score
30 plus?
30?
No.
They're not going to score 30 plus
Washington
points.
is
no.
like that well-oiled machine. You put oil in that old motor,
We
and
were-
it gets all running really fresh and good and all that.
We really need to take a look at Washington a little bit more, learn their players, and
I feel like we owe it to college
we,
football
we,
to learn a
we
little
owe
more
it to
about the
college football.
Huskies.
We owe it to the Huskies.
And they're the other, famous for Stadium on the River
Yeah,
school too. So maybe we
they
give
got a
Washington
dog
a
as a
little love.
mascot.
We give
got-
Washington a little love.
We need to give Washington.
Well,
a
they
little
do
love.
have a fellow dog as
Yeah.
a mascot.
Yep, I'm with you guys on that.
All right, well that's it. That is our top 15 games for Week 5. We've covered our games from Week 4. Thanks again for my
Yeah,
good buddy
buddy.
here, Ainge, for stopping
Austin.
by
Good to see you, brother.
and
Grace.
hanging out with us. Thanks for the insight on the Vols.
Anytime.
You know the Vols. Thanks again for SevereTV.com for setting us up in studio here. Thanks again for Autographs Plus for sponsoring us, giving us a couple helmets here to
Two
have
locations. If you need anything, you like collectibles, Autographs Plus
That
is
is
legit.
good. Yeah, one in
Legit.
Sevierville, one in Pigeon Forge. I'll give again. Thanks again for stopping by. We hope you stop by again next week. We'll talk some more. It's getting better. It's getting so much better.
Go Vols.
Go Vols. See you next week.
See you next week.